Antoine Semenyo to Arsenal. Here we go. Deal done and agreed for the winger to leave Bournemouth and join to Arsenal later this week. Final game for Semenyo in the next 24 hours and then ready to leave Bournemouth and join to Arsenal. Not a surprise if you're following all the updates. I told you on Christmas Eve that the clear decision by Antoine Semenyo was to join to Arsenal. Interest from Tottenham, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man United, all these clubs have been interested in Semenyo. The decision of the player was clear already around Christmas. Everything agreed between the player to Arsenal. He will pay £65 million for Antoine Semenyo to join the club. From Bournemouth, medical to take place on Thursday, deal agreed in principle, and new winger coming for my first bomb for 2026 on the market. Antoine Semenyo is coming to Stadium. Deal done, confirmed. And here we go.
The January transfer window is open, and one of the big early moves looks to be that man, Bournemouth's Antoine Semenyo. Hello there, welcome along to Good Morning Transfers. The January window is up and running and we look set for another bumper month of deals. Alongside me for the hour, former Bournemouth midfielder Dan Gosling and James Green, who is keeping across all the deals for you. Arsenal may be top of the table for the start of 2026, but will Mikel Arteta look to strengthen his squad in a bid to end their long wait for a Premier League trophy? Premier League history. Could Mikel Arteta, though, add more depth? Let's find out and speak to our reporter, Dharmesh, who's keeping warm in North London. Dharmesh, a very good morning to you. What do we think then? Will Arteta be tempted to push for a few signings to help bolster those Premier League title chances?
Yeah, morning, Will. I would say at this stage, it's likely to be a quiet window in January for Arsenal. Mikel Arteta has been asked the question in previous news conferences. He said, we are Arsenal, we will keep our eyes open. I only think they will go into the market if a unique market opportunity was to present itself or a long-term target suddenly became available. But even then, you've got to realise their squad is so good, as you mentioned before, that there's at least two players in each position. Mikel Arteta is having to leave out certain players from his 20-man squad, let alone his first 11. And if you look at January, Arsenal, like many other clubs, go into a summer transfer window and they don't think, let's go big in January. That's never the approach. And the last time they actually did any kind of key business in a January transfer window, you have to go back to January 2023. That's 3 years ago when Leandro Trossard, Jakub Kiwior and Jorginho all joined the club. So you'd have to say at this stage, it looks like it's going to be a quiet window for Arsenal. But as you say, you never know. And with what Mikel Arteta has been saying in news conferences, and I'm sure he'll be asked the question again this morning, he says that we are always alert to any opportunity.
Yeah, and look, it was a good result, wasn't it, last night for Arsenal with Manchester City, Dharmesh, drawing up at Sunderland. A 4-point lead, a new year for Mikel Arteta and his side, and they'll want to pick up exactly where they left off in 25.
Oh, 100%. And I'm sure they really enjoyed Manchester City dropping points at the Stadium of Light last night. But as far as Arsenal are concerned, what a way to end 2025 with that statement victory over Aston Villa by 4-1 at the Emirates. And look, the games are coming thick and fast, though, aren't they? They've got a game in 15 days. I know every other club has got that problem as well with this fixture schedule, but Arsenal's season so far, even though they are top, has been blighted by injuries. But you get the impression that they are moving closer to a fully fit squad. You'll know that Kai Havertz returned to the squad against Aston Villa for the first time since the opening day of the season. Gabriel Jesus scored his first goal for Arsenal since New Year's Day in 2025. There are a few other injury issues that Arsenal have got in the form of Christian Mosquera, Ricardo Calafiori, and of course Declan Rice, who missed that game against Aston Villa. They should be on the mend and returning very, very soon. Let's see soon, but I'm sure Mikel Arteta normally keeps his cards close to his chest, but we will ask him if there are any updates on those players. He's addressing the media, Will, at around 9:30 this morning. We'll bring you the best of that right here on Sky Sports News. And of course, Bournemouth against Arsenal is the live Saturday night football. Coverage gets underway on Sky Sports Premier League tomorrow from around 5 p.m.
Dharmesh, cheers, mate. Thank you very much. Mr. Dan Gosling. So look, Arsenal are in a great position. They've got a deep squad that has been doing the business. If you're Mikel Arteta, do you stick with what you've got or do you try and bring something in Jan?
Really difficult. Dharmesh said if a unique opportunity came along, then they'll be there, like every top club should be. Semenyo is a unique opportunity, I believe.
Are you surprised they didn't move on that?
I am, but at the same time, they are well stocked in wide areas. They're well stocked through the middle. Gabby Jesus has just come back, started scoring. They've got Kai Havertz on the verge of coming back. So there's another two attackers where arguably they could get in the starting 11. So I'm not totally surprised because there's just no room for him. Maybe if they sold one and got him in, I believe they could have done that. Possibly Trossard, maybe. There was links last year of Trossard. He ended up staying.
I mean, arguably there's no room for him at City, but Pep's stockpiling him as well.
yeah, I agree. I think the difference is Arsenal's wingers are contributing a lot of goals. To take someone out, Saka plays no matter what. Obviously, Gyökeres they've spent big money on, so he normally plays. It's just the left-hand side, and Martinelli and Trossard have rotated. That's probably the side where if anywhere, I would see Semenyo. But at the same time, Martinelli's young, he's improving all the time. Trossard gets really important goals. Important goals.
I was going to say, Trossard's had a great season this
so
year. You've got Emirates Eze as well, who can play out on the left that they spent quite a lot in. Dan was going to ask you, being in a changing room during a transfer window, a team that's doing so well, top of the Premier League, top of the Champions League, is there a risk that if you do bring someone in, it could just disturb things a little bit?
Yeah, there is that. I think if Semenyo did go to, say, an Arsenal, I think that the two guys on the left would be a little bit concerned and think, where's my game time coming? So it can upset it a little bit. So I don't see Arsenal, to be honest. I think in another window, in maybe the summer possibly, where they'd have more time to sort the squad out. But at this moment in time, and the other caveat is people don't want to leave Arsenal right now.
Yeah.
They're on the verge of winning the Premier League for the first time in 15, 20 years. So, why would you want to leave when you're playing a big part in the squad?
And it's hard to argue against what we just mentioned there, this Arsenal squad being the strongest in Premier League history. I mean, look, the Invincibles were incredible, but as a squad and as a group of players and 2 and 3 in every position now, James, but where if they did look to strengthen, and we've heard this phrase twice over the last 5 minutes, this unique opportunity, positionally, where would they be weakest in looking?
Well, look, unique opportunities come and go. Look, these clubs have plans throughout. They have plans for a year, 2 years, 3 years in advance. If a player that they're looking at maybe getting in the summer, all of a sudden comes available in January and they think they can steal a march on one of their rivals, then they could potentially jump and do it. Arsenal are in that position to do that if they need to. If you talk about Arsenal's weak, look, it's very difficult to see a weakness in that squad. It is the deepest squad I've ever seen at Arsenal, ever. They've got replacements in every single position, players that Mikel Arteta now trusts, which was an issue previous seasons where he didn't trust those players to come in, hence why he had such a tight group to play so many minutes and so many games, led to a lot of injuries. I think the back line with obviously Mosquera's injury maybe leaves them maybe a little bit vulnerable at times, but still we've seen them cope without Gabriel, without Saliba. Ben White didn't play much, then he's come in. Timber's missed a couple of games. Calafiori's out, but you've got Lewis Skelly still there. You feel like with this Arsenal side, there are still 2 players in every single position, and they're not just like a squad player. They are 2 players that you feel could play for a lot of Premier League sides and do a wonderful job as well.
I know James is answering this, but just finally on Arsenal, on City, on Semenyo, on the title race, does the Semenyo signing, which give them the advantage, do you think, in the title race, Dan?
I think it's going to go down to the wire. I think it's going to be really close. I see it as a 2-horse race. Villa are doing fantastic, and that they could add as well with a couple departing. But I don't see them lasting. I think you could see the gulf in quality the other night when Arsenal played them. I think they overran them in the end. After Villa's strong start, they could have went 1 or 2 up, to be honest. But in the end, I think that the quality's shown. Semenyo gives goals.
The offence you're sitting on there, Dan?
I still believe City will actually come back and win it, to be honest.
Antonio Semenyo to Arsenal, here we go. £65 million January deal completed as André Berta wins transfer battle and delivers Arteta his new weapon. Arsenal have completed the sensational January signing of Bournemouth and Ghana international forward Antonio Semenyo in a deal worth £65 million, hijacking Manchester City's long-term interest at the final stage. Sporting director André Berta has worked tirelessly behind the scenes to secure Mikel Arteta's top attacking target, with Semenyo set to arrive at the Emirates Stadium tomorrow for his medical. It is a statement signing, a title-defining move, and one that could reshape Arsenal's future. A January statement that shook the Premier League. Here we go. 3 words that send shockwaves through football. On a cold January evening, Arsenal fans around the world were sent into raptures as news broke that Antonio Semenyo's move to Arsenal was complete. Negotiations had accelerated rapidly, confidentiality was absolute, and then, suddenly, it was done. A £65 million agreement had been reached with AFC Bournemouth, medical booked, contracts prepared, and flights arranged. The Ghanaian forward will arrive in North London tomorrow, marking one of the most decisive January moves of the Mikel Arteta era. This was not just a signing, this was a statement of intent. André Berta, the architect behind the scenes. While Mikel Arteta shapes Arsenal on the pitch, it is André Berta who has quietly emerged as the club's master strategist in the transfer market. Berta identified Semenyo as a perfect tactical fit months ago. When Manchester City's interest became concrete, Arsenal responded decisively. Meetings were held, personal terms agreed swiftly, and Bournemouth were presented with a clear, respectful, but firm proposal. What separated Arsenal from City? Guaranteed role in the first team, Arteta's direct involvement in talks, immediate impact rather than long-term rotation, faith in Semenyo as a title-winning contributor, Berta's persistence paid off. Who is Antonio Semenyo? Antonio Semenyo is not a gamble, he is not a project, he is a Premier League proven forward entering his prime. Player profile. Name, Antonio Semenyo. Age, 24. Nationality, Ghana. Position, right winger, left winger, center forward. Former club, AFC Bournemouth. Semenyo brings explosive pace, physical dominance, relentless pressing, end product, tactical flexibility. At Bournemouth, he evolved from a raw athlete into a complete modern forward, one capable of changing games on his own. Why Arsenal moved now? January transfers are notoriously difficult. Prices inflate, selling clubs resist, risks multiply. So why did Arsenal act? Because titles are not won by waiting. With Arsenal sitting top of the Premier League, Arteta and the board identified the need for greater attacking depth, a direct runner against low blocks, a physically dominant wide forward, someone who can rotate with or complement Saka, Martinelli, and Jesus. Semenyo ticks every box. Hijacking Manchester City. Manchester City had tracked Semenyo for over a year. Pep Guardiola admired his versatility and pressing intelligence, but Arsenal moved first and moved faster. While City considered a summer approach, Arsenal opened direct talks with Bournemouth, agreed personal terms early, and sold Semenyo a vision of immediate relevance. By the time City attempted to re-enter discussions, the deal was effectively done. This was a classic hijack, and a rare one involving City. Tactical fit under Mikel Arteta. Arteta does not sign players without a plan. Semenyo is expected to operate as an inverted winger on either flank, play centrally in high-intensity matches, offer physical presence against deep defenses, lead the press when Arsenal defend from the front. Possible roles: right-wing rotation with Bukayo Saka, left-wing competition with Gabriel Martinelli, central forward option in transition games. His pressing statistics alone make him ideal for Arteta's system. What Semenyo brings that Arsenal lacked? Despite Arsenal's brilliance, there were moments this season where games required power over finesse, directness over patience, chaos in the final third. Semenyo brings controlled chaos. He attacks defenders relentlessly, forces mistakes, wins duels, creates space for others. Against compact sides, he is a nightmare. From Bournemouth to the Emirates, a journey earned. Semenyo's rise has not been overnight. He developed through adversity, earned Premier League respect through consistency, improved decision-making season after season. Bournemouth knew they were losing a star, but Arsenal paid the price of a ready-made elite forward. The medical and what comes next. Semenyo is scheduled to arrive tomorrow, complete his medical at the Emirates, finalize contract signing, and be unveiled to fans shortly after. If all goes to plan, he could feature immediately. Fan reaction. Belief turns into expectation. Arsenal supporters have responded with overwhelming excitement. This signing represents serious ambition, title hunger, long-term planning. The Emirates is ready. What this means for the title race. Arsenal were already leading. Now they are stronger. With Manchester City chasing, Liverpool rebuilding, and others faltering, Semenyo's arrival could be decisive. Depth wins titles. Physicality wins tough games. Belief wins championships. Final word. A deal that defines an era. Antonio Semenyo to Arsenal is more than a transfer. It is a declaration, a warning, a promise to fans. Thanks to André Berta's relentless work and Arteta's clarity, Arsenal have secured a forward built for the present and future. Here we go. It's a done deal.